Okay, now we're here with the girls from Superchick, and we talked to them this morning about their music. We talked to them about their heart for God. They had a great word for Australia. They're really passionate about their visit to Australia here. Now, girls, you've just recently been to Uganda with Compassion. Compassion is one of the most inspiring ministries. You can sponsor children, you can sponsor a church, sponsor a school, you can sponsor a feeding program, you can sponsor a country if you want. Compassion do such an amazing work. Tell us about some of the highlights of your trip to Uganda.
Well, I have been working with Compassion for, I've been sponsoring 2 kids for almost 3 years now, and both of them are from Uganda. Mombere and Janet. And actually, I went the first time to Uganda two years ago. And I got to meet both of my sponsored kids that time. And let me just tell you, if you think sponsoring a kid is amazing, when you get to meet them, it takes it to a completely different level. And I think the first trip that I went there, you try to prepare yourself for going to a third world country, for seeing poor and needy, and being from the States, we have homeless people, but and so that's what I had to base it on. You go there and then you see what poor really is, and it completely shakes you up and messes you up, and it should, because the idea that there are people that actually live out there and sometimes don't know if they're going to have food, for days, sometimes weeks, and there would be 6 to 10 people living in this little cubicle of a house, like one room, they cook outside on the fire, and if they have food, and the bathroom is anywhere and everywhere. And so the first time I went to Uganda, for sure, I think I was just in shock for quite a while, and you think you're a compassionate person, and then you go there and you're just broken, completely broken, and I've been very fortunate all my life to have good parents, a good family, and my parents take care of me, and I've never worried about having a roof over my head and things like that. And then you talk to them about what their prayers are and what their needs are and what their wants are, and it's just all about basic stuff. Like, it's just food. Can we have food tomorrow? And it is a heartbreaking thing. So the first trip was just, I think it was complete and utter shock, and I lived in that shock for however long. And then the second time when we just went in January, because I had seen already what was out there, I feel like God really was able to open my heart and let me just feel it. Just feel what's going on with these people and interact with them and talk with them. And seriously, the most beautiful people I think I've ever encountered in my life, other than Australians, were the Ugandans. These people that were just so giving with whatever they had, which was nothing. I mean, anything they could give to you. And their hearts were so open, and they were the ones that loved God were so in love with God. I mean, it was ridiculous. I kept thinking, I have all my needs met on a daily basis, and still I strive every day to even get 5 minutes of time for God. And then you hear these people talk, and it's like a love and a passion for God like I've never felt in my life. And I got to see my kids then again the second time, and this is probably my favorite part of the trip. I don't know if I said before, their names are Mombere and Janet. It's a little boy and a little girl, 9 and 10 years old, and had an awesome time the first time. So the second time I'm like, it's been a year and a half. What are they going to think? Are they going to remember me? How's it going to feel? And so they had, a bunch of sponsored kids and their sponsors that were going to get to meet them on the same day. And so they tell us, we're going to have you line up and have the kids line up over here, and it'll be this nice orderly little experience and call you out. And so we're walking down there to see our kids, and I see them all huddled up over there. And then all of a sudden I see these 2 kids just break free from formation, run full speed at me, and grab onto me and knock me backwards and just hug on me with these smiles. Just amazing smiles on their faces. And just grabbing onto me and saying thank you. And I was like, do you remember who I am? They're like, Melissa Brock. And I was like, yep, that's it. That's about all we could say to each other. But we got to hang out that whole day with them and just interact. And it's the same thing over and over and over. They just keep thanking you, thanking you, and thanking you. And I'm like, but I hardly do anything. Like, I give you $30-some every month. That's nothing to me, nothing in comparison. And it changes their world. So, I mean, for me, my heart is in Uganda big time. And the cool thing about going on the sponsored trips, and I'm talking a lot, so if you have interjections, because when it comes to compassion, I have a lot to say. The cool thing about it is that you get to really see what compassion is all about, what their projects are all about, what they do. And this time that we went, they took us through every phase. Like the first time, and you could probably tell them about our first day, the mothers and the getting to meet the mothers and the kids, because they have different programs. They have like their basic sponsorship program, which is for children, and it puts them through schooling, gives them water, clothing, food, and tells them about God. But then there's like other programs that they've started, and there's one about educating mothers, because in a lot of these countries, especially like Uganda, where AIDS and stuff is so, and malaria is so prevalent, most of that is due to just them not knowing. Simple, basic things that they don't know that they can start doing before a child is even born, and training them. So we got to interact the very first day with the mothers and the babies. And I mean, who doesn't like babies? First off, these little cuddly things. And do you want to tell them about the first little girl that we met? Yeah.
Yeah, so that day, let's see, make sure I'm on. I'm quiet too.
I'm loud. She's
sorry, yeah. That first day we met a little girl, and she quite possibly was the most beautiful baby I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, everyone that saw this baby would just gravitate towards her. She was just, like, stunning. Like, she looked like she had on makeup. Every feature, huge eyelashes, just beautiful red lips. Her mom had her dressed so cute with they have little bangle bracelets they put on the little girls so that they look feminine, because sometimes they have no hair, so, you know, you have to look girly. And her name was Gift, which was such an amazing name. And